Nobody panic, nobody panic. The shelves are bare again, I know. You can't panic because of that, because we're here to freak out because it's the mid-year book freakout tag. That's why the shelf is bare, because I'm going to be stacking all these books I have for this tag on the shelf. So you have like a visual representation of what I'm talking about when I'm going through the books. Does that sound like a plan? Good, because it's the only one I have. The mid-year book freakout tag is to kind of check in the middle of the year and talk about all the books you've read, things you've really enjoyed, things you maybe didn't enjoy, some favorites and stuff like that, and see what your goals are looking like, what you've accomplished, and what your goals are for the end of the year. I do not know who originally did this. I've seen this going on for like 4 years at least. So I really, really love this tag. I did it last year, which is so insane to me that like I've been on YouTube for basically a year. Like, I haven't been on there for a year yet. I think that I did the mid-year book freakout tag in July last year, and today it's June 7th. So I think July 2nd is my 1-year booktube anniversary, which is so crazy. Like, it's so insane. And I want to thank all of you who have subscribed because y'all are amazing. And all your comments you leave are amazing. The people that follow me on Instagram and Goodreads and everything like that, absolutely fantastic. Anybody that's ever sent me a book, anything to my P.O. box, are you kidding me? Oh my God. Speaking of that, I should have my birthday unboxing maybe after this video, or maybe this one's going up. I don't know which one's going up first. Anyway, there is a lot of different versions of this book freakout tag that are available. Some of them I see are like 12 questions. Some of them I see are like 18 questions, 15 questions. There's so many different versions of it. I'm not really sure which one is like the set one, but what I did is I rewatched a bunch of different ones from last year and the one before that. And then I also went and like looked up book blogs and their list of questions. And I just took the ones that seemed like they were the most used, like the most people did that. So I think I have 16 questions here to do today, and I'm very excited about it. So let's jump in to the first question, and that is, how many books have you read so far in 2021? Whew! All right, well, as of today, June 7th, I have read 84 books. I have read 84 books in 6 months. What? That's insane. That's insane. I've read 84 books. Like, I never know when I say something like that whether I should be impressed or depressed. Like, it is impressive, but it's also sad and confusing. Like, what am I doing? What am I doing? And then also, I'm 70% of the way through Finley Donovan is Killing It, which I'm obsessed with. I'm obsessed. And I'm definitely finishing it today. So that one will be done today. So that'll be 85. And then I'm also reading volume 2 of Check Please. I might be able to finish that one today. So that would be 86. I mean, Katie, like, hello, what are you doing? Whew. All right. Good God. Anyway, 84 books. Question number 2 is, what have you been reading? And I'm going to break this up into genres, ratings, YA versus adult, as well as physical versus audio. Now, we're all here for this question. Everybody loves this question, so I'm so glad that it's at the top of the list, because everybody loves a good pie chart. So do I, so do you. I know it. I've made some. You're welcome. So for the first pie chart, we're going to have genres. Now, this one really took me off guard because I was not anticipating to have read this much fantasy. And one thing I will say is that there isn't every genre under here. So if something was like sci-fi, because I really never read sci-fi, I put it under this. If it was like magical surrealism, I put it under fantasy for the most part. I think one of them I put under contemporary. And stuff like that, like things that just didn't really fit anywhere else, but they had a fantasy element to it, I put in fantasy. That kind of makes sense why it's a little bit more bulked up, but really, to be honest, it's because I've just been reading an epic shite ton of fantasy. Like, oh my God. I literally was like, Grace, my best friend, was like, do you remember when you used to read mystery thrillers and now all you read is fantasy? And I was like, yeah. Also, like, don't look at my TBR. It's like, literally, it's all fantasy. Don't look at it. Don't look at it. Anyway, what we have, I have my little notebook here as well, because of course I can't see the beautiful pie chart that I will be making this afternoon. I have read 10 mystery thrillers. I've read 33 fantasy. I've read 5 contemporaries, 5 romances, 14 horror, which I'm very proud of that number is as high as it is, 4 historical fictions, 2 nonfictions, and 9 graphic novels. Now, technically, 5 of those graphic novels are horror, and then The other 4 are romances. So, then that would mean that if I took out graphic novels, I would have, I can count, 19 horrors, and then I would have had 9 romances. So that's going to be it for genres. I am impressed. I have read a little bit more broadly than I had been thinking when I was tallying these up, but fantasy is a clear winner. The second thing that I rated or put into a pie chart is my ratings. Now, another thing for this is I did not count half stars. I either bumped it up or in some cases bumped it down, depending on if I thought it was more like a 3.75 or 3.25 or whatever. But as far as ratings go, we did have a pretty decent, like, across the map. I am surprised that 5 stars is my highest, even though it makes sense because I read a lot of I read like 9 graphic novels, and then I read certain things like shorter books that I'm like, yeah, I just more readily give those 5 stars. But I did read a lot of fantastic books. So in the highest portion, I have 28 5 stars, 24 stars, 14 3 stars, 14 2 stars, and 8 1 stars. That is a lot, I feel like, of 1 and 2 stars, but at the very least, like, I'm being a little bit more like liberal about being like, listen, it was a 2 star. Like, what do you want me to say? It sucked. Like, I didn't like it. Or maybe it didn't suck, but I'm like, yeah, it's not for me, fam. Like, maybe other people like it, but I don't. So anyway, and I will also say that so far this year, I have also DNF'd 1 book or 2. I've DNF'd either 1 or 2. But that's like out of like 84. So doing pretty good. The next is YA versus adult, young adult versus adult. I have not read a single middle grade, so I'm not, obviously that's not a genre on here. It would just be 0. But I am also, this is pretty even. I'm very happy that adult is higher up because I really didn't think that was going to be the case. Last year, most of the things I read, I feel like were YA, but we have 38 young adult versus 46 adult. Now, there are some things that would say young adult that I'd be like, okay, sure. Okay. But then there are a couple of them, I bumped them up. Like the 2 that I bumped up to being adult was A Court of Wings and Ruin, and then A Court of Silver Flames. Like, I'm pretty sure that both of them said that they were like young adult or something. And I was like, in what world? In what world? Absolutely not. So those got bumped up. And then I had thought that The House on the Cerulean Sea was a young adult, but it's not, and it's adult. And when I saw that, I was like, oh yeah. Yeah, it is. Huh. Okay. And then also Sorrowland, I'm pretty sure it said that it was young adult or something. Well, no, I'm just talking out my ass right now. I don't even think it did. Anyway, I was like on Goodreads being like, I swear to God, these better say they're adult because there was like explicit sex scenes in some of these books. Anyway, our next pie chart is read versus listened to. So physical book versus audiobook. Now, if you've watched even a single video on this channel, no one is surprised. Not me, not you. No one. Definitely not Libro, that's for sure. And it's that I physically read 21 books this year so far, and I have listened to 63. Now, bear in mind that 9 of those 21 were graphic novels. So, but they're pretty long. Like, almost all the graphic novels that I read this year were very long. So, does that count? I don't know. Anyway, I am someone who adores audiobooks. I really do. I am very ADHD. I'm very just like, I need to be doing something like in 2 different ways, physically and mentally. So I love to listen to audiobooks, do puzzles. I cannot, like, if I'm not talking to Grace on the phone when I'm driving, I'm listening to an audiobook. If I'm doing my dishes, I'm listening to an audiobook. If I'm doing my makeup, audiobook. Hello. Or booktube, obviously. But I listen to a lot of audio. And if you're one of those people who's like, oh my God, audiobooks aren't real listening. Blah, 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 blah. Miss me with that shit. Miss Matrix. Like, I'm dodging these bullets like freaking grenades. Like, are you kidding me? You didn't come here for that TED Talk, but I gave it anyway. Okay, let's move past the pie charts. Question number 3 is best book you've read so far. They really go in for the jugular immediately. They're like, oh, question number 3, what's your best book? It's like, what? I was going through my reading journal all last night being like, I read that in 2021. What? I thought I read that 2 years ago. No, it's just like somehow 2021 has gone by so incredibly fast. But reading wise, I was looking back like, damn, this reading year has felt like a full year so far at the very least. And knowing me, and I'm indecisive and I can't pick just one answer, I'm going to be giving multiple answers for this, but different categories because I can. Because I get to do whatever I want, okay? So, the first thing I'm going to say is best book. Like, if you just put a gun to my head and said, tell me what the best book you read this year is, hands down, it's The Nightingale by Kristen Hanna. This is the most well-written book. This is definitely one of the most well-written books I've ever read. This is all it's so lyrical, it's beautiful. The historical fiction in this is freaking stunning. The character development, the characters themselves are stunning. I sobbed reading this book, absolutely sobbed. I think the physical and the audio experience are absolutely phenomenal. Also, there's a movie that's coming out at the end of the year. Grace and I, Buddy, read this together. She also absolutely loved it. 5 stars for both of us. For this question, this is the actual answer. This is the best book I've read. Absolutely loved it. And I'm also going to be giving some subcategories. And the first one is the best reading experience I had / the book that meant the most to me. No one's going to be surprised. If you haven't seen this video yet, you do not know me. You don't know anything about me. And that is Loveless by Alice Oseman. These tabs, this book has this, you can't tell because it's such a beautifully printed cover, but this spine is cracked to hell and back. It is, oh my God, I didn't even try. I mean, I wasn't trying not to break it, but I swear to God, it's just, I flipped to a random page. There's writing and highlighting all over this. This is about aromance and asexuality. And oh my God, I've never been so identified. I've never felt so related to. I was basically tearing up. I didn't cry, but I was tearing up reading this the entire time. This is absolutely stunning. I have never read a book that has meant as much to me on a personal level as this book. So this is going to be one. And then I'm also going to say the book that I fell in love with the fastest, Every Heart a Doorway by Shauna McGuire. And it's not just because it's small. It's kind of like poetry where every single sentence counts. Every single sentence is important. Nothing is fluff. Not a single thing is fluff. I fell in love with this book so hard a couple pages in. I swear I was 3 pages in and I sat on my bed and I did not get up. I was starving. I wanted food so bad and I was like, I don't care. And I busted through this book, absolutely loved it, 5 out of 5 stars, immediately put on my favorites, where sometimes, most of the time, I have to reread books to put them on my favorites. Not this, absolutely not. And then I went to Half Price Books and ordered through their warehouse or whatever, facility, I don't know, the next 3 books in the series. And well, I was about to say they're behind me. They're not. But this is the one I fell in love with the fastest. And then I have my favorite audiobook. The best audiobook, you already know, is The Strange Case of Alchemist's Daughter by Theodora Goss. This narrator, I can't describe. It really does sound like it is a full cast narration, and it's not. It's one girl. And she does the accents and the inflections of every single character so stunningly that it blew my mind. And this is also a favorite. This is also 5 out of 5 stars. You already know, I've talked about it a bajillion freaking times, but it is going to win the Best Audiobook of the Year award. Question number 4 is the best sequel that you've read so far this year. Now, of course, both of these books I do not physically own yet. I don't physically own them yet, but I will. I desperately need them. The first of which is absolutely going to be the winner for this, and it is The Burning God by R.F. Kuang. The Burning God by R.F. Kuang. So this is a book that I gave the first book, The Poppy War, 3 stars. I gave the second book, The Dragon Republic, I think 3.5 or 4 stars. The Burning God, 5 stars, shooting into the freaking sunset. It's phenomenal. It's so good. Oh my God. Grace was buddy reading these books with me. She finished The Burning God a week before me because she read it in 2 days. How'd she do it? I don't understand. She physically read it too, and I was listening to the audio. So she's an actual wizard. That book, it flipped the script for me so fast because I had been in it trying to feel for the characters and be emotionally invested, and that was not going to happen. And then in The Burning God, I was like, oh no, I don't need to feel for these characters. I don't need to be emotional about this because the book is intelligent. And I don't just mean oh, it's kind of intelligent. No, I mean R.F. Kuang is a genius. She is a genius. This book is so stunning. It's so good. And all these people that were crying while they were reading it, I was like, No, because all these characters are like garbage people. Like they're all terrible people. They're horrible. And she writes the best gray character of all time with main character. It's stunning, blew me out of the water, could not handle it. The fifth question is a new release for 2021 that you have not read yet, but you can't wait to read. Now, obviously, the first of which would be Finley Donovan is Killing It, because Gabby has been telling me over and over again how amazing it is and that I need to pick it up. And literally, I told her today that I picked it up and she was like, oh my God, I'm like, yes, I know. And I'm adoring it so much. But by the time this video comes out, I will have already finished it. So I'm going to say Malibu Rising by Taylor Jenkins Reid, as well as The Maidens by Alex Michaelides. Also, Heartstopper Volume 4, but I'm really hoping, I'm pretty sure that I'm getting that for my birthday, so like, let's see. But I'm really, really, really excited for these. This is obviously by the same author as Evelyn Hugo and Daisy Jones and the Six. And then this is the same author as The Silent Patient, but I hated The Silent Patient. But this, like this cover, honestly, I'll read it. I don't give a shit. But like the Dark Academia murder, I was like, yeah, sign me up. I don't care if I didn't like your other book. I'm gonna love this one. That would be hilarious is if I give this one 5 stars and then his other book 1 star. We'll see. Question 6 is my most anticipated book that has not been released yet. And that is, hands down, only one answer for this, and it's All's Well by Mona Awad. I can't wait. I cannot wait. And I'm also planning on rereading her other book, Bunny, for Summerween. I want to do, well, I mean, I'm rereading it because I've already read it, but that was a 5-star, immediately favorite. Like, I would not stop talking about it to every single person who even had ears. Like, or didn't even have ears. Like, I would talk to literally a wall about that book for like 3 months after I finished it. So I cannot wait for her new release. I can't wait. I'm so excited. Question 7 is my biggest disappointment to me personally. So by that, I mean that it doesn't have to be like, oh, it was just a 1 star, because there are, you know, obviously you already know plenty of books that I gave 1 star or 2 star, but this is like, it personally disappointed me. And I think a book that was 1 star. The Minders by John Mars was such a giant letdown. Like, I absolutely love The One and The Passengers, and The Minders was so bad. It's so bad. And I don't understand how the same guy wrote that. And then also, John Mars like freaking skeeved me out because he commented, like I posted a picture of the book, The Minders, and all I said under it was, oh, have you guys read this yet? I gave it 1 star. What did you think? And he like commented below it like a bunch of laughing emojis, and I did not tag this guy. I didn't tag him. So anyway, that was my biggest disappointment. Number 8 is the biggest surprise. Something that I did not think that I was gonna love as much as I did, or didn't think I was gonna love at all. First of which, we've already talked about it, so I'm not gonna get into it, but The Burning God by R.F. Kuang. Oh my God, like took me completely by surprise and changed my entire view of the entire series. 2 other honorary mentions, I would say, is Little Women by Louisa May Alcott. I never read classics. I think they're just so boring, like Snoresville, can't do it. This one went on my favorite shelf. It's on my favorites. It's 5 stars. I adore this book. I think that this is something that all women need to read, girls need to read. Like this, I mean, obviously that'd be great if men read it too, but like any girl out there, if you're thinking you don't like classics, this might be an exception. Jo March is the absolute GOAT. She's fantastic, flawless, obsessed with her. The other one is going to be No Exit by Taylor Adams. This took me by surprise because I was planning on getting rid of this book. I picked it up and I was like, I don't know. I mean, like, it has okay ratings or whatever, but I never hear people talk about it. And I think the only way that I saw it was like, I've seen it on Olivia's shelf and I always see it in the back of like Meg's videos, but not really talking about it. I picked this book up. I read it incredibly quickly. I physically read it. I would not stop talking about it at work. Oh my God, this is one of my favorite thrillers I've ever read. It's not just a favorite thriller of the year. This is like top 5 favorite thrillers of all time. Like, if you need something to get you out of a reading slump, this would be my number 1 pick. Number 9 is a new favorite author, and that could either be an author that you have just never read from in the past or a debut author. Now, I am going to say that my 2 answers for authors that I had just never read from before this year would probably be Shauna McGuire, and then also, who was the other person I was gonna say? R.F. Kuang. What am I doing? Katie, hello? R.F. Kuang, hello? So, an author that I had just never read before 2021 would be Shauna McGuire, even though I've had hit or miss with her books, all in the same series, but a couple of which are favorites. I do really enjoy her writing style so much, and I will continue to pick up whatever she writes. The other author would be R.F. Kuang. Now, oh my God, how was the Poppy War a debut novel? I literally don't understand. Anyway, she's writing a dark academia book, and I literally am so excited. Like, I'll read anything she puts out. But for my debut favorite author, Ashley Audrain. The Push by Ashley Audrain is a debut novel, and it's one of my absolute favorite psychological thrillers I have ever read in my life, and I love psychological thrillers. This has very Sharp Objects vibes. Like, Gillian Flynn is just woven throughout this book. Like, Gillian Flynn's mind is in this book. Ashley Audrain. How? And I'm pretty sure she's really young, too. No, she isn't. She's hot as hell. Anyway, favorite debut author. Question 10 is your newest fictional crush. And I will be using one reread for this. Okay. My first is going to be Sherlock from The Strange Case of the Alchemist's Daughter. Listen, I have a type. And it's Sherlock. BBC Sherlock. Sherlock Holmes. Are you kidding me? And this Sherlock in this book acts just like the BBC Sherlock, and I was simping. I'm a Sherlock simp, and I'm not here to apologize for it. The reread. I should not use this for this because it's a reread, so it's not new. But Kaz Brecker, my love was reignited. The daddy of Ketterdam. A crime prodigy, Kaz Brecker. I'm a hoe for this guy. I'm literally such a simp for him. And I don't give a fuck what y'all say. I don't give a fuck. He's not 17. I don't care what Lee Bardugo says. I don't give a single shit. He's 27 years old, and you can't talk me out of it. And he's daddy. He is daddy. My other fictional crush, this one's new, and I adore her, oh my God, is Jacqueline Wolcott. Jack Wolcott from this book. I'm in love with her. I think she's amazing. Anytime her name is even mentioned in any of the books, I'm like, where is she? I'm in love with her. Like, I love her so much. Are you fucking kidding me? So yeah, that is going to segue really easily into our next question, question 11, which is newest, favoritist, what? Your new favorite character. Hi, hello, I speak English and I read books, but that doesn't mean I can talk good. Anywho, my new favorite character is Jacqueline Wolcott. I adore her. I love her story arc. I love her personality. She has like OCD. She's just so absolutely flawless. She's like a Frankenstein's monster kind of thing. Like, she's like, it's almost like she's like the daughter of Frankenstein, is what I would say. She's a mad scientist. She's a lesbian. She is absolutely phenomenal, and I love her, and she's crazy, and she's brilliant, and she's smart, and she's funny, and I want to be her. Or be with her. Whichever one happens first. Question 12 is an underrated gem that you've recently discovered. I've already talked about this, but The Push by Ashley Audrain. You guys are sleeping on this book. Now, I know I've already said it in a mini videos, but I'm not recommending this to anyone. This has a lot of triggers. Do your research. If you have like almost any trigger, like dead ass, like do your research because this will you up. I'm serious. If you're a new mother, don't read this. Anyway, this is absolutely stunning, and not enough people are talking about it. Not enough people are reading it and giving Ashley Audrain the absolute praise that she deserves because she made a work of art, and I'm obsessed. Also, something I've talked about a lot, The Strange Case of the Alchemist's Daughter. I know that I have been pushing a lot of people to read this. You're welcome. You're welcome. I have been, but not enough. Not enough. I'm not hearing people talk about it. And I know it's not for everybody, I guess. Like, I think like Kayla and Chandler both tried to read it, and I'm pretty sure they didn't like it, and that's fine. That's fine. You gave it a good old college try, and I appreciate that. I'm gonna need all of you to give it a good old college try because it's stunning to me, to a lot of people. Maybe not to everybody, but what is? Anyway, listen to this audiobook. It's so good, and it's underhyped. It really is. And then if enough of us hype it up, maybe a publisher will pick up more books in the series because Theodore Goss said she would love to write more, but that it hasn't been picked up. And we're not going to sit here and let that stand. Question 13 is, what rereads have you done this year? And boy, howdy, have I done a lot. I didn't even realize that I did this because I don't reread books that often. I thought. And I'm planning on doing more because I'm so indecisive about my ratings that when I give something 5 stars, like 2 months later, I want to reread it. Anyway, what have I reread? The only book that I do not have that I reread was The Fault in Our Stars, and that's because I yeeted it out of my house after I read it. Terrible. I originally gave it 5 stars. Second time I read it, like 10 years later, or 7 years later, gave it 1 star. It sucks. I have a whole video about it if you want to see it. Anyway, I reread I'm Thinking of Ending Things. First time I gave it 5 stars because I physically read it. Second time I listened to it. The listening experience wasn't as good. Gave it 4 stars. I reread Carry On by Rainbow Rowell. If you don't, okay, just skip ahead. Well, let's just not talk about it. Whatever. The author's problematic. I gave it 5 stars. I still, listen, let's stop talking about her. So, Six of Crows, I already told you, I reread that this year. I reread Crooked Kingdom. Love those. Oh my God, Katie. Okay, let's just, hello. I reread Akawar in process in anticipation of A Court of Silver Flames. And then I also reread one of my all-time favorites, and that is The Southern Book Club's Guide to Slaying Vampires, because I wanted to annotate it. 5 out of 5 stars. I'm literally obsessed. I'm pretty sure that's all I've reread this year. And I'm pretty sure I'll probably reread more before the year's done. Question 14 is, what book made you cry the most? Are you even sitting here like you don't already know the answer? The Nightingale by Kristen Hanna. I sobbed. I swear I sobbed through like the entire last third of the book. And there was many times throughout the other 2/3 of the book that I cried. Oh my God, such a tearjerker. Second place is going to go to Anxious People by Frederick Bachman. I'd never read a Frederick Bachman book before, and this just really gutted me. It's so beautiful, and it's so... humanity. The good of humanity makes people cry in this book so hard, and for a good reason. Like, all these people read this book, and they sob, and I was like, okay. And then when I started it, I was like, oh, this is like a fun book. No. It's sad. It's good and it's fun, but it's sad. 15 is a book that made you happy. Now, we don't need to talk about it. It's my comfort audio. We're not going to talk about it because, anyway. And then also, The House in the Cerulean Sea. Nobody needed to hear me say it. We all know it's a warm, giant, gay blanket smothering you into an oblivion of happiness. It's fantastic. The hype is real. And then I know this is a reread, but rereading Six of Crows really made me so happy. Like, I have a whole, it's a spoiler-filled reading vlog, but I have a whole reading vlog for it, and I'm smiling ear to ear in the entire video because I loved being back in this world. I love all the characters. This just made me so happy, and then I went and immediately looked up fan art and started reading fan fiction about it because I'm just obsessed with Ketterdam. I love this world, love the people, love the relationships, love the writing style, love the plot, all of it, fantastic. 16 is the most beautiful cover that you have either bought this year or received this year. I have a hands down winner for this. Like, I do have a couple other ones I'm going to show you, but the hands down winner is Black Sun by Rebecca Roadhorse. This cover, I just stare at it sometimes. Like, I really do. I just stare at this. It's so absolutely stunning. Like, I can't even begin to imagine. If this book isn't good, I'm going to be furious. So this is number 1. I'm also going to give a special shout out to The Priory of the Orange Tree. I love this. I have it facing out, even though I haven't read it. It's just on my TBR shelf up here. I have it facing out because I love this orange moment, and I love the dragon, and it just paints a whole story, and I love how big it is, and it's just beautiful. So this is number 2. And then the third one is... I already talked about this earlier in the video, but The Maidens by Alex Michaelides, like marble. I'm so obsessed. I want to get a marble bust tattoo of Medusa. So this is kind of like, it feels like Alex Michaelides is, get in there, is telling me to do it. And I'm listening to you, Alex. Okay. And then the other one I want to give an honorable mention to is The Hunting Wives by May Cobb. I don't even know how to explain why I'm so obsessed with this cover, but I surely am. I think that this just really paints the picture of what this plot is about. Like, you don't even need to tell me what the plot is. I can tell you what the plot is based on this cover. Like, this is amazing. And it's just so simple, but yet it pops. Like, the colors pop. It's intriguing. It's funny. It's cool. It's aesthetic. It's simple, it's modern, it's unique. I just think it's so good. And I think that whoever created this cover, I don't know what that's called, the book editor, I don't know. Anyway, the publishing editor, I don't know. Whoever created this, they did a stunning job. The last question, number 17, is what are your reading goals for the rest of the year? My biggest reading goal is to read what's on my TBR and not just randomly buy audiobooks on a whim. Katie, stop it. Stop it. Okay? Like, I need to read what I own. Also, I would like to do a bit more physical reading. I mean, I know that you saw that I didn't do that much, but I need to do a little bit more physical reading. Like, I prefer audiobooks, but there are certain books where I'll push through on the audio, and I know full well that the audiobook is bad, and I should physically read it, and I just don't. And then I don't give it as good of a rating as it should have had. And that's my problem, and I need to be better about that. I also need to be a little bit more mindful of creating content while I'm reading, because I'm very self-competitive and I just want to finish the book as fast as possible and like devour its content without creating content for this channel for you. You literally heard me at the beginning of this video being like, I'm definitely finishing Finlay Donovan today. And there's like 5 hours left of the audiobook. What time is it? It's like freaking 7 p.m. What am I doing? Anyway, I'm my own competition. I'm competing with myself. I need to get better about that. Those are going to be my 3 goals for the rest of 2021. Okay, guys, that is going to wrap it up for this year's book freakout tag for 2021. I will have my 2020 version of this linked up above and down below. I will also have linked down below my Goodreads and my Instagram if you want to follow me on either of those, as well as a slew of other links if you'd like to promote me in a different way. They will all be linked down below. I really, really hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, there's no emoji for 2021. Just put 2021 in all caps with like an exclamation point. That'll be like our emoji of the day. Just 2021, like with the with the exclamation point. That works for me. Put that if you've gotten this far into the video and you want to comment something. I would really love that. That would be awesome. And I am hoping to see you very shortly in a video coming very soon. Have an amazing day, evening, night, dusk, dawn, morning, evening, whatever you're having. Bye.